Hey guys, Kyran here. So we decided recently that we would put spoiler alerts at the beginning of every episode. So this will be the first time we do that. We will be discussing characters from the series One Punch Man and the series Naruto. And there's pretty major spoilers for both. So if you want to avoid those, just go watch them and then come back and listen. Enjoy. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Infinite Agenda. I think this is episode 6 now. So today we have me, myself, and yourself, your host, Kyran. We're going to move past that. Sage, Ledge, Steel, and a new guest joining us today, Chaos. Today, our topic will be introduced by Sage.
How's it going? Today we're just going to be discussing who would win in a fight between Genos from One Punch Man and Kisame from the Akatsuki in Naruto.
So, what stage? Like, where Kisame? Like, where?
Okay, so we'll talk about all the stages, but we'll normally go with their max stage versus their max. So, in the end, Kisame kind of, and I'm sure there's a spoiler alert, but before he kills himself, basically, that stage.
That's pretty strong.
Okay.
Pretty strong.
Okay, so because it's been so long since I've seen One Punch Man, who would like to do the honors of describing Genos' abilities?
I can do it. I'm a little foggy on it as well, but
I'm foggy too.
I can try.
If you're missing any finer details, I can supplement. I think I remember it mostly.
Yeah.
I'd say, is anyone not like San Francisco in the morning? Not foggy?
You really should try
Genos.
stand-up.
Season 2 Genos got a little bit of an upgrade on his armor and stuff. His speed, very fast. I don't know how to compare it to a Naruto character, but he was kind of keeping up with Saitama a little bit. Not quite, but still, it's really fast. His momentum changes are fast. They're still reliant on booster packs, so they're going to be predictable, I guess. His strength is probably okay, but he doesn't use too much physical strength for his fights. It's mostly incinerating, and he also, I think he does use a little bit of speeding up his extremities with rocket propelled stuff to do strength. So that's pretty much the breakdown of Genos.
Yeah, I think you pretty much covered it. He does create more force using speed with his more mechanized components, so he definitely has the capacity to use some strength.
Okay.
Creates more force using
and for
speed.
Kisame, anybody else want to do it?
Components?
Yeah, it's called momentum.
I think you meant to say he creates more force using his mechanical components to create more speed.
I mean, I did it in a different order, but I think the logic train is still possible to follow. So...
So, anybody else want to describe Kisame, or...
Ledge, you're the Akatsuki expert.
Well, how did I become the Akatsuki expert?
Because you love Itachi.
Because you idolize
Everybody loves Itachi,
Itachi.
that's a good point.
Kisame, I think it's safe to say that Genos does have a fair speed advantage, so Kisame is fast. Did he ever fight hand-to-hand with Guy?
Kind of.
A little. He used jutsu a lot, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one thing to consider.
Kisame has a tremendous amount of chakra, like probably like one of the most that isn't an incarnation of Indra or Ashura.
Well, or a tailed beast. He's a little under a tailed beast, from what I...
Yeah, it's just barely under it.
The tailless tailed beast.
Which is insane.
That's what it was, the tailless tailed beast.
Well, let's call it 3 steps above a regular chakra store.
It's supplemented by his sword that he takes chakra from other people, so if he's fighting somebody without chakra, might not have quite as much.
Mm-hmm.
He still has some stored. He can store chakra over time in it.
Are you ready to start the opening lines of the battle?
Where would it be taking place? Because we know Kisame can literally call up water from,
That's actually a good
the
point.
water line.
Kisame, I believe, was always near water in his fights. That's the thing.
Not the one against Guy.
Wait,
When they
what?
were in the
One of them
rocks,
was
he
definitely
literally-
on water.
When they were in the rocks with Guy, he called up water from below ground.
Oh,
then they
it
stood
doesn't
on the
matter
water.
where they fight.
Exactly.
So tuning exams again then.
Not going to be able to do the same thing we did with Zabuza.
Okay. This
People were sore about that.
this might be a
We
pretty
still
cut
are.
and dry situation because Kisame can bring up the giant bubble and probably trap Genos in there.
Oh yeah.
Like he did with Haytails.
That's only
I forgot
assuming
about
that
that.
Genos isn't fast enough to evade that.
And his incinerating power is insane. So he might even be
could
able
burn
to
through it.
evaporate the water.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or at least the majority of it to where it doesn't have a structure or a
Or
threat.
at least enough to get out.
That actually, yeah. I think he could probably get out.
Would his suit not be what's the word? I just had it in my short circuited. Is it all running
There's-
on optics?
I doubt it.
There's no
we've
way
seen
that
his
it's not
suit
waterproof.
encounter water like that. It's not a problem.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
know we've seen his suit
I mean,
encounter
that
water.
would be a
it's
huge
not a
flaw.
suit. He's a cyborg, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone have
We
just
call it a
initial
suit.
thoughts on who would win without even breaking it down?
I don't remember Genos' fights all that well, to be honest. That's why I was relying on you guys to explain abilities and comparisons.
Because I'm
I mean,
actually pretty
to
torn
me-
right now.
It kind of depends on, do you think water beats out fire or fire beats out water? This is a water versus fire matchup at its core.
It's kind of, yeah. It's
Here-
like a
Water has a
versus
natural
incineration. Very strong fire. Like, not just flames, but like
It's incendiary. It's not just flames, but
Yeah.
still.
the sun.
So Genos has him on
it's
speed,
not
so he likely wouldn't get caught.
Oh, that's the question. Would
Okay.
Genos get
Water.
caught by the sword? If he gets caught by the
But,
sword, I think he's done. Period.
He only had that bubble
Wait, the
after
sword
taking a
wouldn't
ton
matter.
It
eight
it
tails
shreds stuff.
chakra.
It doesn't matter about
I mean-
stealing chakra.
Sorry.
We're gonna have to beat.
He only had the giant bubble after taking a ton of eight tails chakra, so we can probably
Oh.
throw that idea away.
Okay.
He can still summon the
Genos
water.
has two things going for him that we haven't brought up yet. In the second season, he has the ability to release ultra adhesive sticky goop out of the back of his shoes so that anybody caught behind him
Oh.
basically gets stuck and can't move. So Kisame would have to literally cut his feet off. or get away
Well,
from adhesive.
if he's standing on water, that wouldn't be effective because I'm assuming the adhesive is thick enough that it would sink.
Okay. Good points.
So the question is, he could do it directly onto Kisame if he could manage to like kick him and seal his arm to his body.
Kisame can make clones.
Oh yeah, water clones.
All right. So would Kasame open up with pulling water from the ground and quick enough that Genos wouldn't get
Probably not, because he doesn't do that in most battles.
true? And
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
Genos is an aggressive person, so I don't know if he would even give him the time to.
And
He would
Kisame
literally
loves
see
big.
him and go, monster, time to die.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Kisame does have great reflexes.
Yeah. And
Kisame loves big fights. Like he'll bring a huge wave, and he likes to destroy things in his fights.
Go ahead, Sage.
I don't know, like the speed levels, although it seems like Genos is faster at core, the Naruto universe is so fast. So would Genos be able to land a finishing hit on him without Kasame doing anything about it? I don't know. That's
I'm
tough.
of the opinion that factoring in both of the universe's base speeds and their speeds in comparison to that, the two would probably be about the same speed.
Honestly,
That's
what I'm
my
thinking.
opinion. And I think it makes the debate a little bit easier to dismantle and approach from all sides.
So one point I mentioned was if he gets caught by the sword, I think he's done. Not because of chakra stealing, but because it rips stuff apart, including metal. And I know Genos is strong, but he does get his limbs ripped off all the time anyway. This
We're not
sword
talking
would be
about
no exception.
regular stainless steel, though. I mean, it is stronger than normal
I know, but
metal.
that's also the blade is not a joke
Well,
either. so.
and again, in season 2 of One Piece, Genos actually takes hits
One punch, yeah.
from, I cannot remember the sword wielder's name, but he takes hits from the sword
Sonic?
wielder's name. No, it's
Speedo-
not
Speedo
Speedo
Sound Sonic?
Oh,
It's
Okay.
not
that guy.
Speedo Sound Sonic. It's somebody else.
Forgot
But he
about him.
takes hits from this guy's sword, and yeah, it dents and chips his arms. But then as soon as it goes to swing and hit him in the head, he literally shatters the sword.
What?
Okay.
I mean, he won't shatter Samihara, but I was thinking about that too. I don't think it can shred his body like we see it shred other people's.
You don't think it would just take a chunk out of him?
Well, if you think about it, Samihara, we can't even compare it to like chakra dense people in there using chakra to reinforce their bodies because it steals chakra. So by the time it reaches their body, it's just a normal body.
It's just a body.
Yeah.
a
So how
flesh
much it
body,
tears
yeah.
them up, I don't think it would tear up like composite metal like he's made out of.
But you have the metal, but you also have joints and how it's constructed. You know, the strongest
I mean,
part
there's
isn't just a
definitely
sheet
weak
of metal.
spots.
So you have it because the blades on Samehada are backwards. You know, he pulls it, so it snags.
I think it would
Saws,
get
yeah.
caught on
It
a lot of
snags
the metal components and really pull them.
I don't know. I don't know if he would hold up to it. Maybe
I
he
think
would kind of hold up to it, but
Genos
it
might
would
get trapped by
bounce
a
off.
water sphere.
Water
If they're
bubble.
equal speeds, probably, because I don't know if you'd expect it. But the question is, people can't move, but can they use chakra abilities? I don't remember.
Thing
know they
is, I
can't
think
sign.
Genos could escape the bubble. I don't think that's a problem. He can just
Yeah.
tell his computer to do the incendiary blast on his hands, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was
and
thinking,
Escape and evaporate the water.
which would surprise Kisame,
Yeah.
but
I also want to point something out concerning Samehada and possibly ripping things off of Genos. We've seen him fight missing limbs before. So
Facts.
it's not like the fight would
Yes,
instantly be
you're
over
right.
if he lost an arm or something. He'd keep going.
He would keep going, but when you, let's say, take half of his stomach, like his left side of his waist away, then he's just too weak. He's a weaker fighter, so he's going to lose the fight if that
Okay.
happens.
I think what we need to do now is a feat measure. Just like what is the strongest thing this Genos has done?
thought you were about to say.
Oh.
Okay,
again,
actually,
measuring their
I was about
actual
to break
feet.
that down. If you look at the
Did not think you
attack
were
power of Genos is insane. It is devastating. He's just crushed the ground, and it just explodes the ground and stuff. So his attack power is not lacking.
So his attack power could be equivalent to Guy's in a way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, that's a good
Probably
comparison
yes.
almost. And although Guy didn't kill him with that, it's so I think Genos'
So what's the
attack power is
strongest thing?
stronger.
What's the strongest thing that Kisame has done?
That
That's
doesn't
the
use
question.
chakra
Kisame
from someone
doesn't
else.
use too much in comparison. Doesn't use quite as strong attacks. He does. Let's see.
You
he's
use the
done-
giant waves with sharks in them.
Yes, the giant waves with
Yeah.
sharks, and then like
That's
basically sword
true.
swinging.
The thing is, Genos can
Um,
fly.
He doesn't do too many big attacks.
Shark bomb, like
Shark
a
bomb.
water
What
shark
is it?
that
Oh
blew
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Was that a thing?
I think it was something like
That
that.
sounds familiar.
So the question is, does Kisame have an attack that would beat Genos, other than the sword? We'll talk about that more in a second.
That's great, ladies and gentlemen. We are the absolute experts in these topics. That's why we're.
Sorry.
I
getting,
think
like,
the way
I don't know.
I think the shark wave could be enough for him to beat Genos with.
Because
If he
if all the
caught him.
sharks grab onto him, yeah.
Well, first of all,
I mean,
if
you
you're
could kill him,
underwater, your mobility is compromised.
Unless you have,
I don't care.
jets in your boots. But yeah,
It's
go ahead.
still compromised versus what it would be if he were on dry ground. All right, he would still be
Oh,
moving slowly
And
compared.
remember, Kisame can like
Oh,
transform into
he
like a
can
shark.
And he can swim
like, the
extremely
sword, and he
fast, like
swims
faster
really
than Kisame
fast.
normally goes.
Yeah, but-
That's a thing.
But do you think that Genos would be caught by the shark wave? He can fly. He can outrun it or go up or sideways.
He can basically boost up out of it was the point you're making, which I kind of agree with. I think
I don't see it.
Genos can boost up
Okay.
to where it wouldn't take place underwater.
Could Genos do
Unfortunately,
anything
would've
to
been a-
kill Kisame? Because Kisame is very
Yes.
resilient.
Yes,
I
I
feel like,
believe
yeah.
so.
What range
because
does he have to be at to do that then? Because if he can just fly up and
he's
take
showcased
shots.
long
He's
distance.
showcased
attacks before
some
that were
long
really
range
powerful.
blasts.
Kisame, right?
that was 3
Incineration
people,
blast.
one person at a time.
Did you say nobody? No. Okay, so he showcased obviously longer range incineration blasts. I don't know if that would be enough. It might be. It might be. But you have chakra reinforcing Kisame and Genos. The durability of Kisame is higher than Genos. We can agree on that, yeah?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Mhm.
I don't know if the long range attack would be enough, but he can close the gap and do. I think he like boosted his foot into the ground and like crushed the ground or something similar to that, to where it was like a rocket sped up limb and just crushed somebody. So would that kill Kisame? I think it might. Well, not necessarily kill, but immobilize.
Would he
Finish
fall
the fight.
for it or could he dodge it?
That's the
He
question.
has clones.
Yeah, it's true.
So, clones. We haven't considered that either. If their speed is matched, I don't know if Genos is going to land a long range hit without damaging him first or hitting with an incendiary blast first or something.
Which means you have to be at least medium or close range,
Yeah.
which puts you
He's
in
actually
range with
kinda
all of his
close.
abilities. And
All right,
sword.
clones. Let's see. Clones aren't a big deal because he can do the incinerate blast at everybody, and whenever the clones take a certain amount of damage, they are gone.
Turn back into
Especially because
Yeah.
it's incineration and they're water clones.
Yeah, water clones are also going to disintegrate
They are
and
strong.
be released a lot faster than shadow clones.
What?
That's the opposite. Water clones are
No,
stronger
it's
than shadow
clones is the weakest, and then water clones, and then wood clones
No,
is the
just
strongest.
clones are the weakest. Wood
I'm fairly
clones
certain
might be
you are
the
completely incorrect.
No, I agree with him entirely in this one.
Okay.
Shadow clones are the weakest version of clones, but you can make multiples of them, and you don't need any
I mean,
attribute around
Regular
you for-
clones are the weakest version of clones.
clones are
They're
the
just
weakest.
an
He's right.
illusion.
But like the shadow clones, they die after one hit.
Literally one every single
Not
time.
necessarily.
Water clones are stronger than
Alright,
that, and
alright.
wood clones are even stronger than
Wood
that.
clones are definitely stronger, but
Shadow clones vary from person to person, depending on the cast.
Naruto's
wait,
the
look at
strongest
Naruto.
guy.
Okay, little side topic. Look at
Die
Naruto's
immediately.
single clone that people sacrificed hundreds of lives for just to keep it alive, so that he could win the battle there. So that was a strong clone.
Yeah, but he didn't get hit.
When
When the
he had a
clone
cloak on.
accidentally hit the
The
other's
higher
head, the other
Naruto's
one
power
blew up.
level became, the longer his clones lasted, and the more
Yeah.
damage they could take before they were dispelled.
You gotta remember, he
Alright.
sent a clone with somebody, and that guy accidentally hit him barely, and the clone blew up.
At what point in the story was this?
What was that? I remember a little bit.
This was War Arc.
Okay. So
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It
the
depends how
point
much
still
chakra
stands
you're
that the
putting into the clone.
incineration blast would take care of the clones, and he can't get trapped by the bubble. Dang, it's actually really close.
Yeah.
Both of them have ways to kill each other. We agree on that, yeah? I think the sword could kill Genos.
I feel like we're missing some of Kisame's abilities. Like, what did he do to defeat people? He could trap them in water. Did he have any
He didn't defeat
other type
anybody.
of abilities?
Sorry.
He trapped them in
Keep
water
going.
and he cut them with a sword. I don't know what to
He
tell you.
cut them with the sword was basically it for
Yeah, I guess
stronger
so.
people, which would also take care of Genos with a good enough hit, especially to the head. Pop.
Actually, now that we break it down, Kisame's techniques are strong but not overly complicated.
No, they're simple, which is nice.
Apparently, the Cage Bushin, the Shadow Clone technique, is supposed to be the strongest. Maybe
That's
the
what
reason.
I said.
Yeah, but I didn't believe you. But probably the reason we don't believe that is because Naruto creates so many that their power goes down.
But there's no way the wood clones can take so many
Exponentially.
hits.
Well, I think they're the strongest
He
physically.
makes like one at a time.
No, he
That's
made
such
like
off topic,
5.
guys.
All of 5.
Sorry.
Madara's wood
Alright.
clones had their own Susanoo.
We've laid out the facts. Let's go down the line and say who do you think would win for everything we've said.
I don't know.
It's a simple question. Can Genos get in to land a finishing hit? Would Kisame be fast enough to land a finishing hit in close quarters?
I'm gonna give a very slight edge to Kisame.
Okay.
I just think that due to the higher durability,
Yeah.
he could survive a couple of hits from Genos,
Okay.
and then Genos couldn't survive as many hits from him. So if they're nearly equal in strength, because one of them's more durable than the other, one will die first. In my opinion, that's why Kisame would win.
Okay, so Steel votes for Kisame. I just thought of something that would definitely give him the edge, and I'll explain why. So, Kisame is obviously more durable. So they fight each other. Kisame survives a few hits, and he realizes that he's fairly evenly matched. So that's when he creates the water, like he could fill up the entire arena with water.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, normally you'd be like, oh, okay, so they're on even ground and they're fighting. But no.
No footing.
He has no footing because he can't use chakra to stand on the water like most people.
He'd be having to fly
so
around.
he'd have to be flying around the entire time, which means he'd have to do acrobatic moves, which wouldn't be very easy. So because of that,
result.
Yes. Because of that, the mass of Samihara, which means it could hit very hard, and Kisame's durability, I give it to Kisame.
I like that. Chaos?
I always kind of lean towards Genos just because of his ability to adapt. He's constantly adding pieces and parts to himself to be stronger. So, like throughout the series, he gains increased incineration abilities. He gains the adhesive gel and all of this stuff. So, granted, Kisame's got the ability of the shadow or the water clones, and the water prison and all of this stuff. But the amount of speed, we actually see that Genos' speed is actually equal to speed of sound Sonic.
Yeah.
Actually faster than speed of sound Sonic.
Uh-huh.
The only two people that beat Genos in speed is Saitama and Garu within that universe. So in my opinion, if you transition that speed over to the Naruto universe, his speed is on par with no, I won't say on par. It's close to the Yellow Flash. Saitama would be the
Jeez.
Yellow Flash, but Genos would be like that
Hello?
next down,
Yep,
just below
I'm
the
good.
Yellow Flash. So it's one of those
Back.
things where it's like I believe that because of his speed and everything, that he would be able to get in close enough to be able to handle the match.
Okay,
Okay.
so you're saying that you believe his speed is over Kisame's, and because it's faster, he'd be able to land a finishing blow, even on water.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm fine with that. Let's see, Kyran.
I already stated
Wait, that was
mine.
you. Sorry,
Yep.
it was
Ledge.
Ledge.
Shoot. Let me see. Probably gonna have to go with Genos.
Okay, 2 and
He's
2.
a lot of destructional power.
So on your side, it would be due to his ability, his attack ability, rather than his speed.
His speed is very fast. It's kind of hard to compare those because Kisame does not seem fast on the surface, but like if you go into his feats, then yeah, he's extremely fast. So I think they're about matched there. I'd say his destructive power is just so, I don't know, aggressive in nature.
Right.
I think he'd get him.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna say, because it comes down to me. It's 2 and 2.
That's true,
Now that-
actually.
Now that Chaos has pointed out the speed factor, which is it's drawn so nicely in One Punch, whereas in Naruto it is obviously an older show, so the speed's drawn a little harder to understand exactly how fast they are.
Right. They just disappear.
Okay, here's the situation. Kisame's in the middle of the arena on water. It's probably like 40 feet deep, whatever. Genos he can't stand on water, obviously,
Right.
but I think he can actually kick off the walls. So he kicks off
For
the
sure.
wall. As he's headed towards him, does an incinerate blast towards Kisame, which he probably would block with his sword and it would deflect around and not hurt him. But it allows him to get close enough to hit Kisame up into the air. Once he hits him up into the air, Genos, with his strongest incinerate blast, would be able to hit Kisame because he has no way to dodge it at that point, I think.
I don't think actually. So your vote is to Genos. So that
Maybe.
So, okay. So I'll add a point that sees if it changes your mind. You're forgetting that Kisame has 40 feet of depth to play around with. I think if that shot's just going across the surface towards him, I don't think he'd deflect it with Samehada. I think he'd just drop into the water and then come back out like as an attack on the vector that Genos is going on.
Yeah, and the Kisame on the water is probably just a bait clone, probably waiting to trap him into water for a final strike.
Yeah, I forgot that if you get too close enough to physically hit the clones,
If you hit the clone, you can get trapped.
which again
That would
Genos
slow
could
him
get out
down.
of, but it'll slow him down.
But it would still slow him down, maybe enough to finishing blow. Dang it.
But
All
that's only if Genos does that.
Assuming the
type of
walls of the arena can hold up to Genos blasting off of them as hard as he can, his speed, even underwater, might be. Well, just take that as a fact.
Yeah,
by the way,
okay.
guys. That wasn't.
We'll go with it.
That wasn't a
We'll
question.
allow it.
His speed would probably be faster than Kisame's swimming. So even underwater,
Single direction.
Kisame doesn't even have much of an advantage.
Yeah, but Kisame
I don't
can
know,
change
actually.
direction
Dang.
very easily
I'm
in
not
water, so he
fighting
could
for
like
Genos, but
yeet left or right.
Here's another physics question to throw at you into this whole mentality and everything.
All right, us science nerds will answer it.
Yeah, if you ever watched Old Noah Zero.
Ooh, good show.
Yeah, so in the one combat sequence, he takes the enemy who is using basically fire swords and he dumps his butt in the water and he implodes because of a steam explosion. My question is, with Genos' combat incineration, flame abilities, and all of the 43,000 cannons that he's able to turn his arm and everything else into, if he could get that hot enough, fast enough, he could literally turn all of the water around Kisame into a steam implosion and fry him.
Yeah.
His chakra would defend him a little bit, but
dang.
Yeah, that's potential.
But it
I
wouldn't
think that
do
would
zero
come.
damage. He would come out of it hurt. Is
Yes,
the problem.
I think that would come down to what's stronger, his incineration or his chakra, because you'd have to take like he'd probably have the water around him under some form of chakra control to move around in the water and stuff like that. So you'd have to overcome the protection of his chakra, which is part of his durability. That's part of what
He
makes
has
him so
insane
durable.
amounts of chakra,
Yeah.
so
I mean, he could turn other water. Like if he could get himself hot enough, he could literally be a steam missile through the entire of water and almost never touch water. If he can get that hot.
Gotcha. I'm gonna wrap up my reasoning actually. So here's what it is. You have who would win between Saitama and Kisame? Clearly Saitama.
Oh,
It's clear.
yeah. It's one hit.
But Genos, it's hard to compare Genos to Saitama, but he's close to the second strongest in the show ish. So it's really like he's almost the same speed, not quite. Not as strong, but like it's comparable. So I think Genos actually has it. He's smart. Kisame's smart too, but I think he has him on speed now that we've talked about it more. And I think his power level, because it almost counters water with how hot it is going to counter Kisame's general, other than the sword, which is the other factor, it's going to counter all the water stuff.
What's
So
your
that's-
vote?
His
My
vote
vote is Genos, actually.
Yeah. So that's 2 for Kisame and 3 for Genos.
Which is
Awesome.
weird.
I mean, I
was
can
actually
accept
for
the
Kisame at
reasoning.
start.
Yeah, like I don't disagree
And
with
I
the
voted for
reasoning.
Genos, not because I like Genos, but because
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
the answer,
I don't disagree with
it's
your
weird.
reasoning, but I
It
still
wasn't
vote Kisame.
obvious, but that's what the conclusion I came to.
Yeah, I think Genos has it.
All right. So that wraps up that topic. That was a close one. Most of the ones we have are close ones. There's a few that are
That was really close.
pretty one and done, which is Todoroki versus Black Panther, for instance. Um,
listen, we try to do good matchups. Sometimes when you start talking about it, you realize there's factors you've overlooked that make it kind of a slam dunk.
so we have very little time left, so let's discuss Saitama versus Sakura.
I'm gonna give it to Sakura. I think it's just the dedication and the
Naruto,
realization that she's
Sasuke,
on the same level as
I mean,
Naruto.
Obviously, she's standing on the same stage as Sasuke and Naruto.
Yeah, so who would win?
clearly,
Obviously,
she
she caught up to
Naruto.
them.
she
She's-
would win against Saitama. I mean, I don't know what to tell
Wait,
you.
she caught up to
Hashtag
Naruto?
girl power.
If Sakura
We
equals same,
have another philosophical speed debate here.
Oh no.
Saitama moves fast enough during serious sideways jumps in season 2 to literally create innumerable after-image copies of himself, and he didn't even punch anybody. He just created a shockwave to knock the dude on his.
yeah.
So-
That's funny.
Yes, they could be classified as comparable in power if she goes full
No.
scale.
No way.
No.
No.
No,
Not
we're being
comparable at all.
sarcastic.
This entire
Because
topic.
Weird joke.
All right.
Oh.
So
in
chaos.
no world.
Chaos. Let me familiarize something real quick with the podcast. Sakura is a joke. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's
Yeah,
outside the
there's no-
podcast. In the podcast, we use her as a joke as well.
There's no way she would be good in that fight at all whatsoever.
He would literally
Yeah.
do one
This
punch
is-
and destroy her.
This is a Sakura hating zone, so
And
Oh,
when you're
okay,
talking
go
about
ahead.
Saitama, if he was like giving it truly 100%, I think he would be like low planetary level of power.
So here's my thing with him. Throughout the 2 seasons that we've had of One Punch so far, he has used normal consecutive punches. He has used serious consecutive punches. He has only at once ever used a killer series move. That was when he jumped from
Serious
the moon
punch.
back to Earth, and when he took out the leader of the alien spaceship at the
I remember that.
beginning of
season
season
1
2.
finale.
Yeah, the serious
Wait,
punch,
really?
right?
That was the only time he has ever used a killer series move.
Yeah, he called
That
it
part
that.
right there when he literally splits all the clouds all the way around the world.
yeah.
That is the only time he uses a killer series move. Other than that, he's never taken a fight seriously.
Never
And
had to.
technically on that fight, it was just a killer series one punch.
He doesn't need to take a fight seriously. Here's the thing about Saitama, okay? Saitama's a parody character. He will always win unless it is funny for him to not win. We've seen him lose like one time against a mosquito. That's why it was funny.
I remember that.
He wouldn't
Oh.
lose in any other circumstance just because it was a mosquito.
I love him
trying to
clap it and missing.
I know, he kept like, it was, yeah.
You have much to learn,
Alright.
young grasshopper. Okay, so here's a question for you guys. It's not anything about that. It's a little bit to do with Sakura. Did any of you catch the little little bitty paragraph I put in the last video when I had to cut something out.
Yes, I did.
Okay, good.
I
If the
watched
rest
the
of
last
My
you-
video
internet
kind of in the background, so I didn't.
failed like soccer or something like that. Gave up like
Oh.
Sakura.
You guys will have to go back.
Okay, I
and
saw
rewatch
that you
it.
had said something about your internet failing, but it was really quick, and
That's-
so I didn't pause it to see exactly what it was.
You have to go back and pause it.
Oh,
Alright.
Lord.
No, that was good. But you guys are not really arguing the fact of Genos winning. You're still 50-50. Like, it could go either way. We all agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not at the point where I would change my vote, but I also don't necessarily disagree
Okay.
with any of the logic that led to Kisame losing.
Alright. Alright.
So, yeah.
So with that concludes episode 6 of the Infinite Agenda. Thank you again for joining us. We hope to have Chaos and Athena back every now and then when we can. Leave a comment if you have any ideas for topics that you want us to discuss. But other than that, appreciate your views.
Peace.
Peace.